All right. Today we are going to use this AI tool that I've been playing around with for the last few months, actually. And I am going to show you how I would use it to build out an entire top down shooter game. And we're just going to go with it. You're going to get to see totally start to finish. I'm not going to edit out any of the prompts or anything like that. I'll speed it up a little bit for you. But you get to see how awesome this tool is. And fair warning, I am sponsored by Coplay, but I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm just going to show you how it works, and then you can decide for yourself if you actually like it or not, because I think it's super useful for prototyping and stuff. So let's get into it. How do I use AI? So I want to build this kind of just a top-down shooter, almost like a lot of the mobile games that you see where you are looking down on a third person. You can move around with WASD and and look around with your mouse, and then when pressing the mouse button will shoot, and you can run around, shoot enemies, pick up things, and that's the concept that we're going with. So let's see how far we can get and if it's actually going to work. So first thing I like to do is actually, instead of just writing a prompt and sending it, I want to write out what idea I have in my head, and then I'm going to get the AI to write its own prompt. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, let's see how this one does. So I'm having it create a meta prompt. It says create a prompt that I can send to Coplay using Claude 4.5 Sonnet that will give me the best results in implementing this idea. Coplay has access to my Unity editor and can see everything as well as write scripts and has full access to the Unity API. So basically I'm like, here's the context. I'm using this particular plugin and it has full capability inside of the Unity editor. I want to build out a top-down 3D shooter game. For this prototype, we'll be using primitives. I want to be able to move the player with WASD or arrow keys, and for the player's rotation, it should follow my mouse cursor. Left-clicking should shoot, right-clicking should reload. There should be enemies roaming about the level that I can kill. Let's have the enemies have a zombie behavior for now, so they wander around aimlessly, but if the player gets within a certain distance, they start chasing them and reduce health upon impacts. When the enemy dies, there should be a random chance that it drops a health boost or an ammo boost, and there should also be a simple UI that displays the critical information to this player, like health and ammo count and the gun, ammo count in the gun and ammo count available. So we're going to see how this does. I might actually do let's do a one-shot scene generation. Actually, no, we're doing normal now because we just want the prompt back. So I'm gonna hit go, and we'll see what it comes up with. Okay, cool. So it is detailing, giving a little more information, like the rounds per magazine is 30, which is a typical AR round magazine or AR magazine size. They're the enemy state, so define that. Cool. So this is how I get really good prompts, and then you literally just say implement the above prompt. And now this prompt is much more detailed, and usually the AI has some sort of knowledge of, okay, this is what I'm good at, and this is what details I need, and so I can actually specify that out. It's an interesting little meta tactic. But we can just hit say implement the above prompt and hit go, and we'll let it run for a while. All right, it thinks it's done. It gave me a little feedback of what it has created. So it added in a 30% chance for enemies to drop something right here, some health pickups, which are green cubes, and ammo pickups, which are orange cubes. And then we've got a ground plane, and we've got our little setup over here. So let's see if it works. Kind of weird situation going on here. All right, let's hit play and see what happens. All right, so errors are happening. Oh, it looks like my health is going down though. Getting pushed by this zombie. Let's see what happens when I die. Okay, also player died. Let's stop that. Look at our console, and it looks like we are missing a method. So I will just not even do anything with this. I'll just close this, and I'll say check the console and solve errors, and then see if it can figure itself out. And it looks like it's input system issues, which it always is. This is why usually when I'm working with AI, I'll swap it over to use both input systems because usually it'll default to the old Unity input system, but I'm challenging it, seeing if it can go and get the new input system set up. All right. It looks like it thinks it resolved the error there. It was a input system method error, and then had some duplicate UI events and just other stuff. So we will hit play again and see if it works this time. Okay, I still cannot move. Let me open up the input actions. Looks like move tied to a vector 2, and it looks like it is WASD is set up. Okay, but can't move, can't attack, I can't reload. So still getting input system errors. So I'll say I'm still getting errors in the console. Please fix. And then while that's doing it, I'm going to go and see if I can manually see what the error is. Okay, looks like it has set up the input system actions in here in player input. We're using send messages. Seems okay. I love how confident it is. Interesting. So it thinks that it did make the right fix, and it's blaming Unity for not importing the script again and using the latest version of the script. We'll see what goes on here. It's a fight between Coplay and Unity to see who's in the wrong. And still not figuring it out. I am wondering if we should help it out. So I wonder if we just click this little generate C# class button, if it is going to solve everything. That's what I suspect. Let's see. Is it because we haven't generated a C# script off of the input actions? Okay, it wants to, generate wrapper code. Okay, now it's going to try to simplify everything and just kind of use events in the generated C# script instead of the send messages version. Oh, there we go. And it looks like I can shoot, but it's maybe hitting myself. And then reloading does work. Cool. Oh, and I can kill them if I am shooting because the bullet touches them at least once. Okay, cool. I did not see any pickups though. We're getting there. We're doing good, all right? So we just had a little, and I've noticed that AI just in general struggles with the input system. So I don't fault Coplay for this at all. It's difficult. Maybe I'll suggest to them that they add in just like default to using the event system with a generated class and do it script wise. All right, so we'll give it a little bit of feedback. We'll say I wasn't able to shoot past my body. And it is good if you have experience with game dev. Like, people are super worried about AI going to take over their jobs with game dev or programming or art or anything like that. But you really need to know the context of the project and like how things work in order to prompt the AI successfully. Because you could just say, "Oh, it's just showing a little blip of a bullet and then going away," when I can describe it differently because I know that the collider is not on the wrong layer. And so I can tell the AI a little more specifically like what the issue is and get it to fix it versus someone else who just comes across with a really vague understanding of what's going on. And then the AI will miss a lot more in its approach to fix the issue. So I can say I wasn't able to shoot past my body. The bullet seems to be colliding with the player. Probably a physics layer issue. And then once we get this working, I'm thinking we can get a little maze set up. We'll see if I can get it to generate just a random maze every single time. Like a Pac-Man kind of vibe where you have to solve the maze and avoid the enemies. Obviously, they're shooting and you can't really solve the maze in Pac-Man, but that kind of vibe. And then I also want to see how well it handles particles and different kind of juice effects like that. We'll see if it can add in some camera shake when you get hit, some kind of bounce back, feedback force, and that kind of stuff as well. It'll be fun to play around with. I do like how AI will create its own scripts to create its own tools. So now we have a game up here, and these are all the tools that it's made so far, which is pretty fun. And Coplay is even smart enough to go in and actually assign the tags to the actual prefabs instead of the individual enemies in the scene. Because that's something I've seen a little bit with unity-mcp and some of the other AI tools in here is it doesn't really acknowledge it doesn't acknowledge well the difference between prefabs and just a regular game object. So there we go. We got bullets working, and then a little bit of actually force feedback when I hit them. You get a little bit of a physics feedback, but solve the issue. There we go. Also, we want the camera to follow the player. It's a big one. I can actually see. One thing I do hope they'll add, and some feedback I'll give, is I wish I could type in, because I always, while I'm seeing the AI, I always can like think of what the next step is going to be, and I would like to either type it in so that I can hit go when the last prompt finishes, or I'll just type it in and go ahead and send it, and then you can queue like 3 or 4 at a time, because that just helps me stay in flow, and then I'll forget stuff. Like I would do set up the camera so it follows the player, and then as that's running, I would write in something else like, let's create a dynamic maze generator that starts a new maze every single time you enter play mode, and just keep in the flow. There we go. Now the camera follows, which is a lot more convenient. And make sure I can run out of bullets, because I haven't tested that yet. Okay, yeah, that seems to work. Try reloading. There we go, and we're good. Very nice. And then it's gonna double check, make sure everything was right. All right, next thing I want to do is I want to try the maze thing. Try to see if we can set up a little maze, because that'll be fun. All right. I'm going to start it creating a maze. So there are pretty established maze generation algorithms, and so it should be able to go and draw from one of those and use that to actually set up the maze creation. And then I've also told it that the AI needs to be able to pathfind, because if it's just trying to get to us and we're, let's say, next to it, but there's a wall between us, it's not going to be able to get to us. And so it needs to be able to pathfind and go through the maze itself. So that's 2 tasks that I gave it that are relatively complex. So we'll see how it does. Ooh, something else I just remembered. The enemies don't seem to be dropping any kind of health pickups or ammo pickups or anything. So I'll need to ask it about that as well. It's still going. There's some compile errors. It's trying to debug what is going on right now. So give it a few more minutes, see what happens. Okay. It started play mode. Can't move around though. It seems to think that I'm shooting. I'm pressing the trigger, but nothing's happening. Oh, I think I closed out of play mode too early. I think it was wanting me to chill and let it do it. I'm trying to take back so much control. That's just let me do it, please. Hands off the keyboard. Yep, I confused it. Saying I don't see a maze. The maze isn't working, but we obviously saw that the maze was working. It's just not play mode anymore. Nice. Oh yeah, it did properly position, it seems, all of the enemies, but the player it did not position inside the maze. Oh no, there was another enemy up there at the top. Looks correct too. Nice. I can do the maze. Looks like the enemies are patrolling. Let's see if I can solve it. I don't think we have a win state though. That's the issue. So everything seems to be working now. So next on the list is we'll do a win state. So let's say you have to start at the bottom left corner and get to the top right corner. We're going to, or the alternative is you kill all the enemies. The next one would be do a little bit of juice. And then I think we'll call it a finished game. Oh, it's still thinking. Oh, let's hit play again and see if it randomly generates. Oh, okay. That's interesting. It's not solvable. Oh, because it has the editor. What? Okay. Okay. I get it. All right. When this is done thinking. All right. We're just going to give it all of the problems. So let's say we just did a play test, which we just did. And we're going to give it all of the issues that we think we have, and then all of the things we want it to fix, and just let it go ham. Okay, cool. We just given it a mega prompt. There's 5 items in here. We're going to say it's randomly generating a maze on top of the existing maze and not removing the other one. 2, we need to add a win state. So you can either win by getting to the top corner of the maze or by defeating all of the enemies. Number 3, we'll add some juice. So camera shakes, particle effects, that kind of thing. And then 4, add the ability to sprint so that, honestly, just for testing, we can remove it later if we want to. And 5, the health and ammo drops don't seem to be working. So let's just assume that we did a play test. This is something that you're just kind of, at this point, you just iterate until it's good. And you just keep going back and saying, hey, fix this, or hey, fix this, like that kind of thing. So let's have a go. Okay. We got some particle effects. Some camera shake when we're shooting. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. That feels fun. All right, and then shift does sprint. Nice. Seems like it did a good job. All right, let's see if I can kill one of these enemies. Run. Ooh, got a little kickback. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, forgot to reload. Got too into it. Oh man, that is quite some kickback. Nice. That's fun. Beautiful. All right, so we need to check a couple things, make sure it works, do a little play test. We need to see if we can kill enemies and if they drop anything like health or ammo. And then we also need to test the win states, getting to the end of the maze or killing all of the enemies. So we are going to try that now. Okay, so we got a little sprint. The juice, honestly, if you're making a game with or without AI, just add some juice. Make sure you add some juice because it's so much more fun. All right, we've got to get over here. Oh, there we go. And then I think the win state is going to be out of bounds for us, so we're going to have to go find an enemy. Do they actually chase if we get close? Okay. And then got him. Still don't see any drops. Make sure to reload. Maybe it dropped because I had 90. Maybe it's just small. I'm going to pause after I kill this one. Oh, wow. The kickback really throws them. Okay, let's pause. Go in here. I don't even remember where. I think he was in this corner. And I'm not seeing health or ammo conditions in here. Okay, so there's a probability that it drops, so I'm not certain that it's... All right, let's go get this one. So there's a 30% chance. I guess he's running away. All right, so I've got 69 and I've got 100% health. Let's go find my player. Nope, there's nothing there. And then just for the sake of speed, grab the player, throw him right there. Beautiful. This is also how you should test, is make it easy on yourself. Don't, yes, you have to play the whole game, but there we go. We won. Beautiful. So that's pretty cool. So we could go through and there's a few things we could adjust there. I'm not going to go through and make y'all watch me nitpick this to death, but this is a full working game with a whole game loop. And we just have it restart. We add in a prompt that says when you click you win, or add a button that says restart or exit below this. We'll have it bring in the win condition of getting the maze finished and then fix the drops. And there we go. We've got like a full working prototype that took us less than an hour to build, with all the scripts, all the scene setup, a whole maze generation algorithm, pathfinding for enemy AI. So like your basic enemy AI, NPC AI. And then honestly, you just go through and you swap out all of the assets with something that you get on the asset store, add some animations, and there you go. There's your first proof of concept. And that's really what this is good for. It's really good to very quickly, like if I was in a game jam right now, an hour in, and I've already got like a working prototype, like that's incredible. That's super fast. Like that speed of being able to do that. And then you can go in and fine tune stuff, and this really just allows you to see what works, see what doesn't work, all that kind of stuff. If you enjoy, there'll be a link to this down in the description, and I'll probably keep try to push its limits, we'll come back and make another game here in a little bit. So enjoy.